So now we'd like to switch to Likit-san, who's going to talk about his doctoral studies. And you could see from Kan-san that he's suffering a bit with all the online stuff going on and COVID-19. So it was very nice to have all these nostalgic pictures. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so now Likit-san, please.
Can you see my slides? Okay. So hi, my name is Likit Manjunatha. I'm very happy that you all joined to be a part of this event. So I'm a PhD student, first year, in the Department of Hydrogen Energy Systems. I joined the program 2 months ago, but I have actually been in Japan since the last 6 years. I completed my bachelor's and my master's in Kyushu University in the Mechanical Engineering Department. So anyway, since today is the engineering session, I'm sure there's a lot of you that are interested in different aspects of engineering, given how vast the field is. But I can only share personal anecdotes and experiences, and hope that you at least get a glimpse of some of the cool problems that we're working on here in Kyushu University and in and around Japan, and also in collaboration with foreign universities. So anyway, I'll be introducing very briefly some of the topics that I worked on. So one of the first things that I worked on, my first research project, was to find a better coolant. As you can see, ethylene glycol is the most popular coolant. It hasn't changed for well over 100 years. And my goal was to find new potential candidates using simulations. So the first skill that I obtained in the university was Python programming. So anyway, from that, I got to work in Takaishi Foods, a company that sells rice cakes. And so here I implemented a machine learning program that could predict or forecast the sales in the future for the next month or the next week. And as you can imagine, for any business, if you know how much you're going to sell in the future, you can make intelligent decisions, such as how much inventory to buy and how much products you're going to make. Especially in this case, since this is a food company, they could really optimize, and reduce food loss and save lots of money. And this project was also caught on by the media, and we were featured twice on national television, which was a cool experience. And another internship project I had was to take, was an actual industrial problem. So the company I was working on was trying to help arrive at solutions to various industrial problems. And here they wanted to determine how much liquid there was in a container without the help of a human being. So basically they want to take a picture and process it in a computer, and the computer says, this is the height of the liquid. This is the amount of liquid in the cup or the container. So again, I developed a solution by combining computer vision and machine learning techniques. And I could almost immediately just take a picture and determine how much height there was in the container. When they implemented it, of course, the manufacturing line became a much faster process, thereby saving a lot of time and money. And here I learned, of course, a lot of image processing techniques, which again led to some other useful solutions in my future project. I got to work in University of Illinois in the US as a collaborative research effort between Kyushu University and University of Illinois. So here we made anti-ice coatings. So basically this surface repels water and repels ice, and we want to determine how well the surface is capable of repelling ice. So as part of the experiment, we had to create ice for a few hours, measure it using vernier calipers, which often leads to damage of the frost. And again, melt the ice, take pictures and videos throughout the experiment, and graph and plot the data. I thought this was ridiculous. I had to stay in the lab for more than 12 hours, but luckily I had a little bit of experience in Python programming and image analysis. So I developed a program to fit a camera that could automatically determine what is the thickness of the frost as it grew, and once it reaches desired thickness, automatically melt the frost, automatically take the picture by writing Python programs, and do everything, which only took me 3 minutes of prep time, and then go home and play. So anyway, through this experience, I learned a lot about automation and material science from anti-ice surfaces. And finally, recently I started my new PhD project to improve water management in fuel cells. Kansan is also working on hydrogen fuel cells, I guess. So this is something that takes in hydrogen and oxygen and produces electricity and a byproduct, water, instead of smoke, right? And once there's too much water in the fuel cell, it blocks the airways and generates a lot of problems with the fuel cell. So I made a new research proposal where I combined the material science knowledge that I had. I realized that the anti-ice and water surface that I was working on has a really cool phenomena where if you apply a temperature gradient on the surface, a droplet, which is, even though it's horizontal, propels itself towards the cooler side. And so I envisioned that you can apply this in a fuel cell by coating this surface inside a fuel cell and have the water throw itself out almost automatically, thereby improving water management. So anyway, okay, so this is the hydrogen fuel cell car by Toyota, called Toyota Mirai. And Toyota is in collaboration with Kyushu University. This is kind of like our mascot car of our university. And as you know, electric vehicles are gaining a lot of traction in this world. They're extremely popular because of Tesla and because we want to move towards a more energy, I don't know, a green energy society. But in fact, hydrogen fuel cell cars are much better in terms of performance and efficiency, but they do face some durability issues, which we are trying to solve here at Kyushu University. So basically, this is very exciting stuff because we are working at the frontier, solving really cool engineering problems. So anyway, the reason I'm talking about all of this is just to highlight the freedom of pursuing various engineering problems, because even if you know one thing, it's connected to a bunch of other things and you can work on many cool engineering solutions. Okay, so just to reiterate this, I also want to talk a little bit about internships. Maybe some of you would want to enter industries, and internships are a really big phenomena that will be an integral part of your life to get a job. So I was lucky enough to get a lot of internships. I worked in Toyota, and I could work in Toyota because I was recommended to work here by my course coordinator, and I could work in a engineering valve company, which was recommended by an acquaintance. I worked in a data science company, which I was recommended to by my supervisor, and Takaishi Foods by an ex-boss. And I got to stay in the US for 4 months due to a collaborative effort between Kyushu University and Illinois. So anyway, in retrospect, I realized that I didn't apply to any of these places, but I simply got these opportunities because of really supportive and kind and well-connected people around me. And I don't know, I just thought that this would be a sort of a reassurance to you in terms of how your academic life will turn out once you start studying here. And of course, it's not just about work. There's a lot of interesting experiences just by being in Japan. Okay, so I came to Kyushu University because of Koichi Wakata, because I also wanted to be an astronaut. So I was interviewed as part of a TV program, and they realized that I came to Kyushu University because of Koichi Wakata, and secretly they arranged for a meeting with the man himself. And this is very clearly the biggest highlight of this year in my life. So anyway, yeah, so Japan is inherently a very interesting country. There's really cool stuff to see and experience in terms of the breathtaking nature and the cool animals and really nice people that you're going to meet. So yeah, anyway, that's it for my talk. I hope that at least you got a glimpse of how your life is going to be if you choose to come to Kyushu University. And hopefully you learned something useful so that you can make better informed decisions when you're applying to graduate schools. So yeah, thank you.
Great, thank you very much, Likit-san. That was also very, very impressive presentation. If I were a student, I would apply now again. Okay, so now does the audience have questions for us? If yes, please feel free to write something in the chat room.
Actually, I have some question already. So the first question is about regarding the Japanese language requirement. So the question is, applicants are required to take the JLP PT prior to starting the master program. If not, basic Japanese language class is part of the curriculum. So basically, so you don't have to have the Japanese skills. So our graduate school, each graduate school, they offer the international courses that taught in English. So, but as Pua Inconstance has already mentioned, so we offer also the Japanese language classes for the international students. And so I would like to share my screen.
So while you share, we can hop to the other question. So what were the incentives that you got from your internship projects, Likit-san? So we're not wasting any time.
Incentives. What did I get from doing those?
So from your internship project, so what were the incentives that you got from it? Oh, you can share your slides, Chisato-san. While Likit-san is thinking and maybe has the answer ready for after the slides.
Okay. So probably for you who are interested in the enroll to the a master or doctor program, so you can take the JTC's course. So this is for the international students for the graduate program, and of course this is these are not required for the additional fees. And also these classes are outside of the curriculum, so you can choose the which skills speaking or writing or reading or something like that. And so the classes are divided depending the your Japanese level. So I think this would be very efficient for you to study Japanese. So, okay. So Lisa, go ahead.
Thank you. Because the questions are coming in now, yes?
Yeah.
Great.
So basically I thought that I was lacking in a lot of skills. And so if you do a lot more projects, you're forced to learn something new. So every time I started a project, I did not have the relevant skills, but I saw the problem and learned whatever was necessary to solve it. And in that process, I learned a lot of new skills, which in turn was somehow useful in later projects. So I think that's the process of learning, to go out and find problems and try to solve them by racking your brains. And that's sort of what motivated me to gain a lot of experience by doing a lot of projects. Thank you.
Great, thank you. We have two other questions in the chat room right now. One is, what is meant by research students, and do I need to join as a research student in order to enroll in a master's program? No, you don't have to enroll as a research student. You can just enter as a master's student if you pass the exam and everything, so if you're admitted. A research student are usually students who maybe, depending on scholarship situations or something, decide to just come for a few months in advance to maybe get used to the subject, or sometimes even to apply for to use the time to apply for the master's program or doctorate program, and do some research while they wait, basically. I think that's one way I would explain it. Do you have something to add here, Chisato-san, or the students as well? Do you know about some research students? That's about it.
So I think your answer is really so perfect, seems perfect.
Yay. Likit-san, do you have any experience here?
There were some there were some students who came as research students, tried to test out the waters, see how the environment was, and wrote the master's program examination for the master's program, and eventually got in. So that's also something you could do if you're not sure whether you want to join.
Great, thank you. And then we have a very good question, actually, I think, because it's related to COVID-19 that is changing a little bit our lives. So we have a student who's interested in studying here and doing a PhD in October 2021, but because of COVID-19, the professor is a little bit reluctant to accept now an overseas student because probably we're just simply not sure if you can enter the country already. I'm not sure what the Kyushu University rule in general is, but I think actually we all hope that from October students can enter again. In the meantime, a lot of the courses are online, but for PhD programs, I think it's necessary to be here to do research actually in the labs. But maybe our Chisato-san has more information on that or more input.
So actually, the master scholars, they already arrived in campus. So since the last month, so we believe gradually we welcome the new international students. So.
So if a professor is unwilling, or some of the professors are still a little bit reluctant, just try and find another one, sneak in from a back door. You can also contact us at the admission office, not admission, the student affairs office, for example, at the engineering school, and we can also introduce a professor to you. So yeah, that's also a possibility. So you don't have to contact the professor directly. If you cannot find anyone, you can also contact us, and then we can help you and introduce a professor to you. I hope that helps. Are there any more questions?
So actually, I have the other questions in advance. So the biggest question is about the scholarship. And so I think Point Inkan-san is the scholar of the next. So could you share your experience? So how did you find the next scholars, the information or preparing the documents or something like that?
Okay, so yes, I was a Mac scholar. I was past tense. I'm not now anymore.
Sorry.
It's okay. I had the Mac scholarship for my undergraduate studies. I got the information from Kyushu University's website, and for undergraduate schools, they actually ask you whether you want to apply for the Mac scholars during my time. But I think for master's program, so it's kind of a little bit different. There won't be any information of scholarship on the application guidelines itself, but you can check the website for scholarships on the Kyushu University website, and they provide a lot of scholarship opportunities that you can get in Kyushu University. So you can Google Kyushu University scholarship, and there will be the English website available. So yeah. But about Mac scholarship, you can actually apply to this thing called Super Global Mac Scholarship, University Mac Scholarship, which is available once you are here. So yeah, if you want to have the Mac Scholarship, then it's more advisable that after you get enrolled here and you apply to it for master's degree. Otherwise, it's kind of a little bit hard to get through. You need the recommendation letter from your professors and everything. So it's a bit hard to get the documentations done if you are in other countries when you're not here. So yeah, but for other scholarships, maybe you can have a look at the other respective websites. Does that answer the questions?
Thank you for your concern. So I just posted about the next information, the link in the chat box. I also am also putting another links to our website, and so looking for the our professors, faculty members contact information. So the first, you should find your future supervisor from here and contact them directly and introduce yourself, and also you're talking about your research plan or thinking about getting the scholarship. And so if the faculty that accept you, so you can start to prepare the document. Okay, anyway, thank you. Thank you, Intan-san.
Thank you.
And we have one question. So the first part of the presentation, the very general presentation that I prepared, if that's available. So if you email me, I'm gonna write my email here in the chat room and just contact me. I can send you the PDF form of the presentation, of the general part of the presentation. So yeah, I'm gonna put my email here. And do we have any other questions? Wait.
So I would like to introduce our Facebook page. So here, we make our new Facebook page for the future international students. So we will post our upcoming event. So because of the pandemic, so the most events are has to be virtual through the online. So we will updating the information. So if you can follow this page, so we are very happy.
Great, thank you. Any more questions? If not, we can slowly come to an end, even though we still have 5 minutes, but.
So Konomi Sensei, do you think for the international students, so is it usual to get the job in Japan or go back their home country?
Oh, that really depends. I don't know the numbers. I think there are a number of students who decide to stay here. There are a number of students who decide to go to other universities actually abroad, in the UK or in the United States, to continue their research. Mm-hmm. And there are some who decide to go back home. I really don't have numbers here. But I do have the feeling that a lot of students stay for a while at least and start working here in Japan. But I cannot give any percentage here.
Yeah. Of course, thank you. So, Tikito-san, so do you think do you want to stay in Japan or work outside?
Whatever, I want to stay here.
Open for everything.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, I do plan on working in Toyota for at least 5-6 years, get some experience, and then think about the far future.
I see. Thank you. How about Inkan-san?
Yeah, I also plan to stay here for at least a few years because as I mentioned just now, I was researching about fuel cell, and the fuel cell research environment here, regardless whether it's in the university or in the companies, it's quite advanced here. So yeah, I can get a lot of experience here regarding fuel cell if I stay here. Yes.
Nice.
And sorry, I just want to add some supporting information about Max Scholar Life. So if you got a Max scholarship, you really don't have to worry about your daily expenses, because the school fees, the tuition fees is actually already being paid, and enrollment fees and everything. So for when your arrival, you just have to bring the amount of money that you have to leave for like the first 2 months, because after you open your bank account here, then they will bank in the first month of your money at around the end of the month. So yeah, if you can get it, then it's quite a very helpful scholarship for you to start your beautiful life here. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for additional information.
And by the way, I also came as a MEC student, and I got stuck in Japan. I did have plans to go back to Germany. I'm from Germany originally, but now I'm here for 22 years now. So
Oh, really?
you never know what happens. Good. Well, then I guess our time is up, or not?
Yes. So, any question? I think, yeah. So I hope that everyone satisfied our presentation. So, okay.
Yeah. Please apply. Please come to Kyushu University.
Yes. Yeah. So I really hope to meet you like in Kyushu University in the future. So please, please be the safe during this pandemic, and hope to see you here. So thank you for joining today, and take care, and bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. It's so Japanese. Okay, bye. Okay. I think we can leave too. There are no more questions, maybe.
Yeah.
The presenters can leave too, or should we wait for some more questions?
Okay, so thank you for the Konomi sensei and Inkan-san, Hito-san. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us. It was fun. Bye. Thank you guys for your great presentations.
Thank you.